Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Like, subscribe. We really do appreciate all of the support, everything that you guys do. You know we couldn't do it without you, and that's why it makes it so great. It's another Monday, and we're coming off of another fantastic week of football. And overall, the weekend gets better and better right around this time, right? You've got football, you've got baseball in the playoffs, you have basketball starting. Soon you'll have college basketball starting, you've got hockey starting. So there's a convergence of all of the sports at one time. And it's just, obviously, if you're a sports fan, it's a great time. It's a great time. What a time to be alive, if you will. Um, college football is interesting, right? Because people keep on missing the boat with this fifth year, 6 year, in some cases 7 year senior thing, but it really is making a difference in the college football landscape. Now, I think we all know that at some point the pendulum's going to swing back, right? And these teams who had all of the or have all of these super duper seniors are going to eventually dissipate. And when they do, because they spent so much time with these adults on their teams, they're not going to have developed the guys coming after them as well. And so then they'll drop back and you'll have a regression to the mean. The same thing with the big names, with the powers, right? Eventually, the talent that they have will get old enough, and since they're not leaving after 3 years because they may not be a star yet, because there's other older dudes, they may get an extra year with that guy, and that's going to make them better. I think that's the part about the numbers that we don't ever talk about, right? Um, we keep saying that we want statistics when we talk about sports. We want statistics. We want statistics. We want to do things smarter. We want to do things more efficiently. And yet, when we get statistics, we fight them based off of old conventional wisdom. We fight them based off old conventional wisdom. So we say that we love baseball, right? We say that baseball is America's pastime. I hear guys, and in fairness, mostly older white guys, talk about how great baseball is. And yet, this weekend, I hardly heard anything about baseball. It was all football. Baseball went head to head with college football and lost. Baseball went head to head with the NFL and lost. So, do we really love baseball? Or is there just a small subgroup of America that loves baseball? And when I say a small subgroup, I do mean a small. Now, does that mean that we don't enjoy baseball? Yeah, but we enjoy baseball when baseball is what we have. See, the beauty of what baseball gets, and maybe this was a product of the fact that baseball was at one point in time America's pastime, and the other sports did not want to heavily compete with baseball. But I think what happened is that these other sports said, we don't want to go head to head with baseball, so our seasons will be around baseball. That's why you have this gigantic gap of time in the sports landscape where all you can find is Major League Baseball. There's no football, there's no basketball, there's no hockey, there's little soccer. I found myself watching a lot of track and field this summer as something to watch other than just baseball, which was great, by the way. Oh, and cricket, because I love cricket. But the idea that baseball is still America's pastime is really just antiquated. And in fact, because baseball has the TV landscape to itself for most of its season, the fact that it's not more possible is an indictment on baseball. You don't have to compete with anything else. You're competing with the drafts. You're competing with Summer League baseball. Summer League basketball. Like, you're not competing with anything legitimate. And you're still not winning. You're still not capturing the hearts and the minds of the country. You're not picking up exponentially new baseball fans. You have kids that play baseball that don't watch baseball. Huh? You have kids that play baseball that play FIFA. They don't play baseball. You know what I know about? Because this happens a little bit in football, guys who play football but don't watch football and play football but don't play like football games. They play like 2K, NBA 2K or something like that. So it's not exclusive to baseball, but it's pronounced in baseball because baseball has its own territory, right? So I don't know. You know what else I don't know about? I don't know if you people really want analytics. Like, I don't know if you really want legitimate statistics. And I'll tell you why. Because you all say you want legitimate statistics, right? You go gaga over over the PFF ratings and when people have come up with these advanced metrics, you want them, right? You want them. But you don't hold to them. You don't hold to them. I'll give baseball this. Baseball holds to their analytics. Baseball used to be about hitting for average. And now hitting for average is the furthest thing from people's minds. They want home runs. They want home runs or they want walks. Hitting for average doesn't really matter to them. They want home runs or walks. And if you're a guy who has a 295 batting average, but you only hit 10 home runs a year, you're not going to be as valuable as the guy who hits 50 home runs a year, but has a 215 batting average or a 225 batting average. You, right? You being able to get on base, you being able to get a hit once every 4 at-bats, 250, a 250 batting average. If that one hit is a home run, it's more valuable than somebody who hit 500 if they don't hit home runs. How crazy is that? But that's the analytics, right? The analytics in baseball they hold to. In football, where analytics have started to, not started to infiltrate, but have infiltrated, people are playing dangerous games and they're blaming it on analytics, and it's not analytics' fault. Case in point, last night's game versus on the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. John Harbaugh was faced with a 4th down, 4th and something. He runs a play. He doesn't get it. Doesn't matter about the play call, whether or not I agree with the play call. I agree with the call to go for it. Why? Because if your analytics says, hey, when it's X and 1 or 2, we pick up X amount of yards from where we are on the field, we should go for it because the probability of us getting it and then going on and getting a touchdown is high. If that's what it says, then do it. So they did it and they didn't get it. You know what? That's okay. You want to know why it's okay? Because the model does not predict 100% you will get it. The model says that out of 100 times you do it, this percentage of times you're going to pick it up. And if many of you actually follow the model, that's true. right? It's true. When I was a head coach, the last time I was a head coach, we didn't punt. We didn't punt, and we rarely kicked field goals. And the reason we didn't punt and we rarely kicked field goals is because we didn't have a legitimate long snapper who could snap the ball back there. And our punters and kickers were scary. Like at that time, they were all young. I think they were all sophomores. So like the inconsistency with the catch and with the steps to get the ball off, the value that we were getting from a punt wasn't what we could get if we just went for it. So I just decided that season I was going to go for it on all fourth downs. My mindset changed, right? Instead of calling plays for 3 downs, I called plays with 4 downs in mind. In that season, we had some really critical things happen where we were unsuccessful on some key fourth downs. But if you went back and you looked at the analytics, overall, the percentage of fourth downs that we made was high. It was the key fourth down. The one where we might have been in field goal range and somebody was like, oh, kick it, that we didn't make it. Or the one where we were backed up really far and we turned the ball over to our defense in plus territory and they had to defend a short field. Those were the ones that were scrutinized. Those are the ones that were, but you have to be willing to take the scrutiny. You have to be willing to take the shots if you believe in your models. And if you don't believe in your models, then don't do it at all. Then do it on a gut. Do it on a hunch. Don't ever talk about, well, the analytics say, because you cannot live in the analytics world if you don't operate like that 100% of the time. So if your model says when we are over the 50, if it's 2 yards or less, your probability of you getting a first down and then going on to score is 70% of the time. You can't go for it on one fourth down and then come to a fourth down later in the game and decide to kick a field goal with the exact same thing in situation. You can't decide to kick a field goal in that part of the game. And I'm not sure what their model says, but I'm sure it's something like what I was talking about. In that part of the game, John Harbaugh got scared. John Harbaugh was tired of hearing the conversations he would have to have after the game. And in doing that, kicking that field goal, which they made because they've got the best kicker in the world, in doing that, if they would have gone on to lose the game because the Cincinnati Bengals marched the ball right down the field, scored a touchdown, if they had gone on to lose that game, John Harbaugh would have gotten criticism for going forward on fourth down the first time and not going forward on fourth down the second time. He would have been criticized within his analytics for both sides of the coin. He would have had to answer double the questions. Well, hey, if you went, why go for it here? Well, that's what the analytics tell us to do. Okay, well, this was the exact same situation. Why didn't you go for it here? Well, it's not how analytics work. And that's the problem. You can't dabble in analytics. You have to be all in or all out, or your model doesn't work. If the model says 70% of the time you're going to pick up a first down, 85% of the time you're going to pick up a first down, 99% of the time you're going to pick up a first down, then you have to be ready for the 1% where you don't. If you play the model out over a long enough time, it works. But you can't be a coward. You can't be a coward. You have to live within the model. And then once you get enough data to see if the model holds up, make adjustments. Hey, listen, we got the best kicker in the world. So maybe we use that for if we are out of field goal range. Maybe we use that model only in the fourth quarter. Maybe we use that model A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Change your model up. But then explain it so that when you don't go for it, people understand. I was very clear. I said it before the beginning of the year. Hey, man, we're not punting. Operation isn't good. Most people don't have a legitimate long snapper. Most high school punters are not very good. We spend so much time working on it for the product to not be good. I'm tired of kicking. I'm tired of punting the ball 20 yards. Flipping 20 yards is not flipping the field. So if I can't get more than 20 yards on the punt, then I'm not punting. What's the difference for my defense playing defense from our 40-yard line from their 40-yard line? What's the difference? An extra 20 yards. If I kick the ball and I'm pent deep and I'm at the 20-yard line, our 20-yard line, and we kick the ball 20 yards, what's the difference of them getting the ball on our 40 versus them getting the ball on our 20? We're still going to have to defend a short field. And if we're playing against a competent offense, that means they're probably going to move the ball. But the advantage that I have as a defense is I know the one thing you get with a short field is you get tighter windows because there's not much place for people to go. And so you have to run all these scenarios. But one thing you have to be is you have to be convicted. You have to have conviction in your decision. You can't waffle in your decision. You can't let fans, you can't let players, you can't let outside sources from media, the questions that you might get after the game, you can't let any of that get in your way. Because if you do, then don't do it. Now, that being said, if I have the best kicker in the world in Justin Tucker, I might consider changing my model to if we're in field goal range and it's more than a yard, we're kicking it. But then I have Lamar Jackson. So I have to be sitting there going, like, we're going to pick up 2 yards, 3 yards plays. What are those plays that we have that absolutely point to the fact that if we run this play, we're picking up 2 yards. We're picking up 3 yards. Because if I have Lamar Jackson, if I have Cam Newton, when Cam Newton was out there doing his thing, if I have Josh Allen out here doing his thing, if I have Sean Watson, if I have some of these talents, Patrick Mahomes, that just they change the dynamic. Well, if the goal is touchdowns, because we know that touchdowns win games a lot more than field goals win games, what are we talking about? The impact is different. So we have to be ready for that. And if you're not ready for that, it's cool. It's okay. Don't dabble in the world. And when you do go forward on fourth down, just tell them you went with your gut. Tell them you went with your gut. Don't tell them, oh, well, we looked at the analytics, because that makes somebody go back and look at every single time you've been in that situation to see if you do the same thing. Declare it at the beginning of the year. Boom. Hey, this is what we're doing. I'm not taking questions on it all year. Hey, well, how do you feel about the fact that you didn't get it on that fourth down? You went for it. I told you guys at the beginning of the year, we're going for it on fourth down. On anything that's fourth down and short, we're going for it. My model was anything fourth down, we were going for it. 4 downs to get 10. 4 downs to get 10. Based off of what I had, what I saw, that was my model. Now, if I'm going forward, I might adjust that. It all depends on the type of team that I have. Okay, you know what, with this team, if it's anything fourth and under 4 yards, 4 yards and less, we're going for it from anywhere. Oh, well, if we're over the 50-yard line, we're going to go for it on fourth down. Like, there are different ways that you could handle it. There are different ways that you can handle it that have nothing to do with, going by your gut. You can be looking at the analytics, but you can't half-ass it. You can't arbitrarily pick when you're going to use it and when you're not going to use it in the same situation, or else your statistics don't mean anything. That's when your numbers lie. I sometimes wonder if I have an offense that picks up more than 5 yards of play, why I wouldn't go for more fourth downs. At the college and at the NFL level, where the execution is higher and the talent is grander, I don't know why you don't see it more. I don't understand why when they get down on the goal line, so many teams decide they want to put everybody into the box. When the places where you got your most yards was when you had everybody out of the box. If you run a 4-wide offense and you spread people out, and then you get down to the 3-yard line and you go 2 tight ends and a fullback, you just made life easier on the defense, unless your run game is built on 2 tight ends and a fullback. If you're 2 tight ends and a fullback and on 3rd and long, you go to 4 wide receivers, then guess what? You just help that defense out because you're not built for 4 wide receivers. You're built for 2 tight ends and a receiver. You have to believe in what you do. If I was a running team, if I'm a team that runs the ball and this is how I make my money, and my primary formation or my primary personnel is 21 personnel, it's going to be really hard to get me out of 21 personnel because that's what I do. That's my best chance for success. So if that means I got to run on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, if I can get one of those 3 downs to pop, that's a 1st down. Let's keep these chains moving. That's how analytics work. It's having faith in the model and playing it out to its infinity, or until you decide you're going to change the model. But I don't think a lot of us understand it. I don't think a lot of us get it. And that's why when we see these decisions by some of these coaches like John Harbaugh to go for it, like, you automatically blame it on analytics, but in reality, it might just be gut. Last night was not analytics. Last night, those 2 fourth downs that they had, the one that they went for, the one they did not go for, it was not analytics. It was gut. It was gut. Because if it was analytics, both times they would have went for it. Don't nobody care about Justin Tucker's feelings. I don't care that he's doing all of this when he hits the field goal. You better hit the field goal. That's your job. Your job is when I call for a field goal to come out here and hit the field goal. Period. End. People got to understand how the analytics work before they start blaming analytics. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. You know I got that Talk Spicy hoodie on. You might want to get yours. Till next time,